Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in the Out of Bounds Show. It's brought to you by the Mississippi State University College of Business. With well over $2 million in scholarships this year, Dean Scott Grawl would like to see you. Call today, book a tour of the campus, see everything that they are doing in the MSU College of Business on the campus of Mississippi State University with over $2 million in scholarships. And we'll have Dean Scott Grawl on again. Again, he was recruited by Ron Polk out of high school, but decided to go to Iowa State because it was close to home. It's an unbelievable story. It's even better when Ron Polk gives him a hard time about not going to Mississippi State, but he is now dean of the School of Business at MSU, at the College of Business. And you should be glad to have him. He's doing a great job, and they're doing some amazing things. Both my kids are in the College of Business at MSU. And Ella Hall somehow is graduating early. I don't know where that came from. But Dad's okay with it as far as the pocketbook and all of that, you know. We can go ahead and knock this college. I'm having a blast, but if we can knock it out, then, you know, maybe they get on something called a salary, or just start generating some kind of money or revenue like you can in so many different ways and shapes and forms this day and age. Also, the show is, we're on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. You can watch the show right now on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. And speaking of game day today and throughout the weekend, BetMGM is the king of sports books and the Beau Ravage's BetMGM Book Bar and Grill is the South's premier Vegas-style sports book. Visit a live betting window, self-service kiosk, or use the BetMGM app to place your bets on your favorite games and sporting events. The app offers free-to-play promotions, live betting options, and boosted odds specials at your fingertips. Experience the action at BetMGM Book, Bar, and Grill, only at the Beau Rivage on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We're also streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. We would like for you to tell us if you went to Mistletoe, what you were able to see, how much fun it was, and if you're hungover. Let us know on the Mac Hike Auto Group text line, 601-885-3776. We want to welcome in Roll Tide Ron Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa, Bama at LSU this weekend. I think he's in Orange Beach. He's also Donald Trump's #1 fan in the state of Alabama. What's up, buddy?
I am. And, you know, the country was crimson. Did you guys notice that? I mean, it was beautiful. I
thought it was Georgia red.
No.
Oh, okay.
It was crimson.
Okay.
It was crimson. And, you know, it's good. I mean, it's amazing. You ever think about this? You know, as much fun as people poke fun at Mississippi and Alabama, right? Because we are the punchline for many jokes.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of do it the right way when we talk about counting votes and having to show identification to vote. I mean, isn't it great that we live in a state that, you know, is able to have a fair election? And, I mean, we have people right now that are still counting votes in certain states.
Florida had all their votes counted in 2 hours.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, that's a state that's run well. It's that simple.
Yeah. And, I mean, Nevada.
What is that, 20 million people? 22 million people in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a number. Yeah, and they counted it, as you said, less than 2 hours. They had the numbers and the results certified. Arizona's still counting. And then you and I, no, I mean, they are. They are.
Are they really?
And
I tuned out after yesterday morning. I had to actually go make a living and you know, get back into the thing. But is Arizona still counting votes?
Arizona, and then
how's that possible?
And then the state that you and I depend on, Nevada. Nevada's still counting too.
You can fly around the world twice in that amount of time in an airplane.
Well, I think we all know what they're doing.
Yeah, but they already called it for Trump.
Well, no. This is the House.
I got it. These are other seats. I'm with you.
Yeah,
all right. Okay.
Yeah. So
I can't follow all that. I'm with you. I'm glad you do, and we need people to do that. I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch CNBC. I don't watch CNN.
CNBC,
But I did watch
CNBC is
them
good.
Tuesday.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
And I don't watch ABC, NBC, CBS unless there's a ball game on it. But man, it's just cuckoo for Cocoa. I thought sports was crazy. Good hell. My goodness.
I mean, it is. It is crazy. But, you know, and really what we witnessed the last couple of days, the legacy media, CBS, ABC.
They're done.
They're done.
See, because Rogan and Les Friedman and Tucker Carlson and even Dana White, even though he's not in the podcast world, but what he does, those guys were among many others podcast, because you and I podcast and we do live streaming, but these guys they swim at the 0.01%. It was already trending that way, and really their audience is 60 plus, 65 plus, which that's who votes. But there was a massive disruption in this election because of new media, of where you're going, Ron. Which you and I are in new media. We both do radio, but we do new media too. And it's fascinating that we're in media and we're in the podcasting world, and Elon and Rogan and Lex Friedman and Dana White and Tucker disrupted the election. It's insane. I never thought it would. I just never thought I'd see this. It's crazy.
Well, and see, it tells you people are hungry for the truth. They know that they've been manipulated. And I tell you, the biggest thing that I want to take away, and I know you've got a very diverse audience that listens to you, is the numbers of minorities who came to the Crimson side.
Yeah.
That to me is probably one of the most, it's the biggest part of this election, because Democrats have abused minorities for years and years and years. And conservatives has always said, we want to offer you a seat at the table. But now what Donald Trump needs to do is he needs to deliver for those minority communities. Those communities, he showed them the importance. They returned and voted for him. He delivers on this. This could be a big blow for the Democratic Party, because for too long they've lied to minorities. They've told them that they care about them, but their actions really don't speak that way.
Did you watch the Sky News broadcast, like the clip of the dude? I didn't even know this. It's Australian news.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, this guy was no BS, right? So I think that place probably skews liberal too. But he was in D.C. and he's I guess a correspondent for Sky News, and I mean he just ripped the Band-Aid off on it. Said, "Look, man, y'all have, you've been brainwashed. New media is now going to be able to tell people I want both sides. I want people to hear both sides, okay, and then decide for themselves, but not just one." And that's what happened for decades, obviously, through the newspapers and the main channels that you're describing. But it's fascinating, man, that Elon and Rogan and Tucker, these guys on Twitter and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube disrupted this thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a great day and a great week for America, and it's going to be even better for Alabama on Saturday.
Okay, so let's talk about this. This is a college football playoff elimination game. We're visiting with Ryan Fowler, Roll Tide Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. If you lose, you're out.
True.
So
true statement.
So, here we are, year one, Kalen DeBoer. Okay. And you've got a good team. Nobody's great.
Nobody.
We're still trying to figure out exactly how good Georgia, Texas is. I don't know about Ohio State. But and then you got good teams like you and Ole Miss and Tennessee, and I think LSU's good and A&M. But anyway, there's not much difference. Are y'all going to go? I mean, what do you think? Are you going over there and is DeBoer winning under the lights in Baton Rouge in year one?
If he does, then I think that message will be there. When you look back at first-year head coaches, he has a chance to understanding. You go back to the 20s and we played fewer games, but he has a chance, if he can do what we think he's capable of doing in the month of November, he has a chance to surpass every first-year head coach in Alabama football history. He's on track right now. to win more games. Yes, Nick Saban, Coach Paul Bear Bryant,
6'6".
Wallace.
Yeah.
I mean, Wallace Wade, all these guys. I mean, he has a chance. This team has battled a lot of injuries. You mentioned the new college football, and if you don't have an allegiance to like Mississippi State or Ole Miss or LSU or Alabama, then you love it, right? I mean, it's created chaos. TV ratings are off the charts, but it is a big, recalibration for your eyes. And I've tried to coach my audience up of understanding of saying, hey, you guys going to have to back off of the expectation of every year winning a national title. And man, they couldn't deal with that. I mean,
No.
guys, it's just not real anymore. It's a system designed to prevent that from happening. I mean, this system was designed, named after Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and the other coaches that were dominating at the top. They wanted to spread the love, and they did. And this is the new college football. 40 new players on Alabama's roster, new system, new coaches all over the place. It took a little bit for everybody to grasp what he was trying to do. I think Alabama's in a really good spot coming out of this bye week. They needed this bye week to get healthy. It's here in front of them. They go to Baton Rouge. Vegas believes in Alabama. If this was on a neutral field, it'd be about a 6. It's -3 for Alabama. If Jalen Milroe goes down, has the game mobility-wise that Texas A&M showed you, and if LSU fixes it, then you should have a lot of production in the back end of that secondary. So there's some ways to attack and LSU's explosive offense, but they can't run the football. They cannot run the football. Let that sink in.
Neither can Ole Miss. Georgia's actually better, but they're not like dominant. I think we've got an offensive lineman crisis actually that we really haven't, because that's not fun. I mean, we want to talk about Milroe and Dart and Nussmeier and Carson Beck and the wide receivers, and that's just kind of how it is. I mean, look, man, your game, just like Ole Miss and Georgia, it's going to come down the line of scrimmage, my man. Who can put their hand in the ground and maybe not dominate all night, but dominate situationally at the right time. Fowler.
All right, you mentioned an offensive line, and see, I love to talk offensive line, and I know it's kind of boring, but I think it's worth going back and talking because of the transfer portal. That line is a development position. It takes a little bit. You don't come in year number 1 for most people and snap your fingers and become a dominant SEC lineman. But I don't think the current college football structure sets up for patience. And the problem is if they don't play early, they transfer. They hit the transfer button. So
I think that's going to settle down a little bit. It's been the thing to do for any kid who's like, I'm not playing, I'm gone. But I think in the next couple of cycles, there will still be a large number moving around, but I think it's going to settle a little bit. Go ahead, Ron Fowler.
Well, and here's another part that we have not talked about with the election. I think Ross Dellinger was one of the first that reminded us, but Ted Cruz winning his seat out in Texas, or getting reelected, he's going to be appointed. And I was told that you got to think from a standpoint of protecting the structure of college football. We know that Donald Trump's a big college football fan. Ted Cruz has met with Nick Saban multiple times to try to design a system with a executive branch that is conservative, with a Supreme Court that has a lot of right-leaning people, and then also both, if you can win the House, the legislative branches, the executive branch, guys, we may get some help on the college football scene. And a few months ago, we didn't even think that was a possibility. Now, and Ross Dellinger was the first one that kind of pointed this out, Tuesday night may have been a big win for college football and putting some parameters around this. Not saying that athletes don't deserve some NIL money. That's not what I'm saying. But putting it in a way that the system is more sustainable for the long term. That may be something that we're all missing from the election.
Interesting. Okay. Ron Fowler.
Did you see his tweet? Did you see Ross Dellinger's tweet?
I did not. I'll go back and look at that. That makes sense because nothing's been done the last 18 months. So I know that talking to people like you talked to, they wanted some things to happen in Congress, but nothing's happened. So maybe we can get some things rolling and going and like you said, get some more structure and parameters in place so that this thing can work a little bit more streamlined. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, and we're brought to you by Core Wellness and Recovery, IV therapy, cryotherapy, and TED Hair Restoration, which they're having tremendous amount of success. If you're showing hair loss, early signs, you want to go to Core Wellness and Recovery in the township. They have this unbelievable state-of-the-art equipment called TED Hair Restoration, Core Wellness and Recovery in the township. We're visiting with Ron Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa, huge game. This is an elimination game for Kalen DeBoer and Brian Kelly. So, Brian Kelly's in year 3. He needs to get something going. They're kind of down there. And then DeBoer, have your people been just absolutely freaking out because y'all have lost 2 games to two Tennessee teams, Vanderbilt and Tennessee?
No. Listen, my wife has a PhD in the therapy side of things, as far as health of the brain, and teaches and does research and all these different things. She's certified. I'm not a certified therapist, but I've played one this year. I mean, I really have. I mean, I've tried to convince.
Good for you.
I mean, I have prevented so many people from jumping off the bridge in Tuscaloosa. It literally. I mean, I hope at some point they'll give me the key to the city, because I've saved firefighters from having to go in the river and get people out. It has been listen, and I'm trying to tell them that, listen, you're going to enjoy college football. It's just going to be different. It's going to be different. And I do believe that Kalen DeBoer is the guy for the job. I think when you look at the way he's had to handle it, and there'll be some stories that I hope will be told. I know those, but those are off record. But the first couple of months, the things that he did to build community with his team. And, it's almost like the substitute teacher. It's like it's the stepdad. He doesn't want to make the new wife married, the mom, upset that he just married. So it's almost like he can teach the kids, but he can't really go extreme, because of this new portal system, right? Think about the system that we're in. That 30-day period when a coach is fired or retired or resigns, that's a dumb rule, because you don't get a chance to replenish your roster. I mean, think about that. I mean, any employer out there.
Are you trying to get me to feel sorry for Alabama? I'm not.
Well, no, I'm not asking you to. I'm just trying to state the facts.
Okay.
Employer.
I mean, I'm okay if y'all get docked 15 scholars a year or 20.
Oh, I know, but that's okay. I mean, we're the king, and everybody bows to the king and takes shots at the king, and it's very similar to Donald Trump, right? I mean, from what he's able to provide, he's a threat, and we're a threat to the system.
Alabama football and Donald Trump are a threat to the system. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
right.
we've been kicking butt and taking names for a long time. Let me run through the credentials: 18 national titles.
Some of those are bogus, but whatever.
Titles. Okay, 30 SEC titles, 147 first-team All-Americans, 77 postseason appearances, 45 postseason games, NCAA all-time scoring leader, 4 Heisman winners, and the greatest football coaches to ever walk the sidelines.
I agree with the last part.
Alabama
Coach Paul Bear Bryant and Nick Saban, both goats.
We've had a lot of butt kickers.
Hey, can I tell you what I did? A couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I had a guy. He contacted me a couple of weeks ago. He came up to the studio. He's doing he's done documentaries for HBO and Amazon and all kinds of cool stuff. He's doing a documentary on Jackie Sherrill, who played for Coach Paul Bear Bryant, won a national championship.
Awesome. Yeah. He was back on campus a couple of months ago.
Yeah, he hit both Mississippi State and Alabama, so he was recognized in Starkville. I guess in the MSU Hall of Fame, which he should have, and then of course y'all did some things for him in the documentary. I don't know how I made it, but Dan Marino, Tony Dorsett, Hugh Green, Barry Switzer, and there's more. There's some teammates that you would know too. So, Jackie had an unbelievable career at Washington State, Pitt, Texas A&M, and MSU. So I thought you'd want to know that there's a documentary coming out on Cheryl, who played for Coach Paul Bear Bryant.
Well, and another Mississippi State title. Listen, I respect Mississippi State. I got a lot of friends that travel over. Believe it or not, if you want to go into forestry, or if you want to go into animal science, or as you mentioned, the business school, we have a lot of people in that West Alabama area that travels over Starkville because they don't want to go to Auburn, which is so smart. I mean, if you're going to go be a veterinarian, go to Mississippi State. Don't go be a bug. Nobody wants to be blue and orange. We love Mississippi State, but Sylvester.
By the way, that vet school is brutal. It is so good. What they've done on the equestrian side is insane. I heard about the starting salary and bonuses a couple of weeks ago for the students out of the vet school. My jaw. I did a show at Louva Wine Bar in Starkville, and the two biggest recruiters in the vet world had been there recruiting senior or last year in vet school students, Ryan Fowler.
Okay.
And they told me what the starting salary and bonuses were. My jaw dropped, my man. It was just.
Should we go back to school? Bud?
Yeah. I mean, I was like, what? Crazy.
Okay.
But yeah. So go ahead.
No, do you think we're going to win Saturday? I mean, do you feel
I have no idea because Nussmeier is good enough to hurt your secondary. Do you have a better team? Yes. Slightly, but you do have a better team. Both DeBoer and Kelly are outstanding coaches. I think you have a slightly better staff because Kelly's missed on some things he's got to get cleaned up. Now, hiring Bo Davis was smart down there, as you know, because y'all had him. I mean, that was a smart move that I think is actually going to pay off even more next year for LSU, Ron, as they get their act together in the defensive front. But I'm really interested to see what your offensive line does and same thing in Oxford. All four offensive lines, who is going to play just a little bit better situationally, especially, keeping your quarterback clean and then in the red zone. But I give Bama just a slight edge, but I wouldn't be surprised if Nussmeier hurts your feelings in the fourth quarter. That kid is a gamer. Be good, buddy. Love you.
Hey, appreciate all those Patriots over for the Magnolia State. Salute to all you guys. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a great week, man. Thank you.
Okay, buddy. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Core Wellness and Recovery in the Township. They have something called TED Hair Restoration. I call it R2D2. You're showing early signs of hair loss, male or female. They're having a lot of success. State-of-the-art piece of equipment. Okay? No needles, no pain. Core Wellness and Recovery in the Township. Plus, they have the IV therapy, red light therapy, and cryotherapy at Core Wellness and Recovery in the Township.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
Are you ready?
Now live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
Are listening to
Mississippi's #1 sports talk show, The Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming worldwide live on the Out of Bounds radio app and on your radio at ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Good morning, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Man, oh man, biggest game in the history of Oxford, Mississippi this weekend.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Ooh, baby.
Georgia at Ole Miss for the college football playoffs. We are the Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. The show is brought to you by Kessler Prime and the Renaissance, KesslerPrime.com, to make a reservation. That rack of lamb, medium rare. Get you some barbecue shrimp, KesslerPrime.com, 6 private dining rooms. We're ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. All of our segments in every hour of the show and interviews, they're on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. For example, Tom Luganbill did 10 minutes on Georgia and Ole Miss, and it was fantastic. Mike Detillier weighed in on the Saints' future now that they'll be hiring a new head coach, and talked about Saban going back to Baton Rouge with game day, and then he previewed Bama at LSU. That is a doubleheader that is beyond delicious. Georgia at Ole Miss, Bama at LSU, college football playoff, elimination games. I'm here for it, and I don't have to go anywhere this weekend. Now, we do have to travel the next couple of days. We'll be live from Pearl River Resort and either the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook or Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. And then we'll head to Hattiesburg tomorrow after the show, and we'll go interview Rocky Patel with Rocky Patel Cigars. He'll be at Spring Street Cigars in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Oh, man. How many times has Rocky Patel been in the top 10 of cigar aficionados? Top 25 cigars. A lot. I had the 15th anniversary at Louisville Wine Bar in Starkville. Because Spring Street in Starkville brought some cigars down, and we had a party a couple weeks ago, and it was delicious. I don't know what I'm going to smoke with Rocky tomorrow, but it's kind of cool because he's like the Tom Brady of the cigar industry, and it's kind of cool to sit down with him, and he's a huge University of Wisconsin Badger fan, season tickets there and with the Green Bay Packers. And I'll ask him about, Green Bay and whether or not, I'm sure he's been to a couple of games already. And maybe going this again a couple of times before the end of the year. In fact, he was just the last time I interviewed him when John and them opened up Spring Street Cigars in Starkville. Rocky Patel had just been the week before to the Packers playoff game. They were eliminated. We thought that they would win. I think they were the number 1 seed. This was a couple years ago. It may have been Aaron's last year in Green Bay. Yeah. When they opened Spring Street, because he was there in January. I remember it was cold. My God, it was cold. And John had over 600 people go through Spring Street Cigars that day as opening. That's the power of John and that crew, and just people. I mean, he had people drive in from Alabama and over from Oxford because Spring Street in Tupelo had already been open. And, his nicest one right now is Spring Street Cigars, and they're all nice, but the one in Starkville is just insane because he took that whole building, 2 stories, exposed brick, beautiful beams, 2 bars, all that. They all have smoking lounges, but Hattiesburg's very nice. It's downtown. Jackson's been there, and it's 2 stories too. They went into a beautiful building there downtown Hattiesburg and renovated it. It's really, really nice. But Rocky was with me couple years ago when they opened up Spring Street in Starkville. He had just been to the Green Bay Packers playoff game, and I got to smoke a cigar and drink Johnny Walker Black label with him, and it was a treat for me. And then he told us about playing golf with Bill Mickelson and Justin Thomas. I was like, okay, that's kind of awesome. So, hey, the Mac Hike Auto Group text line, Mac Hike Auto Group text line, 601-885-3776. I haven't checked it in like 35 minutes, Jackson. Have you seen anything?
I have seen a few things, which obviously Arizona reporting at 69% is pretty funny by Josh.
Oh, yeah, we were having fun with that.
Yeah. And then obviously running through the looking back at the cool neighborhoods and best neighborhoods of Flowwood, if there are any, Rankin County.
Shots fired.
No, I'm kidding. Rankin
Okay.
County's okay.
Okay.
And Pearl is out there, but
Hey.
Hey, you can overcome everything.
All right. So we asked earlier if you were hungover from Mistletoe or if you went. If we need to shoot us a text, if you've got pictures.
Oh, yeah.
We would love pictures. If anything crazy went down, we would love to know some Mistletoe's gossip. If you went, we had some pictures earlier from someone. It looked absolutely beautiful, the trees and the decorations and the stars. If you went, I hope you had a great time. I hope you go shop at Raggio Mercantile Shop and all the other wonderful local places. Josh Raggio called earlier. He's in 1202 and 1203 down at Mistletoe. Raggio Mercantile Shop, he and his wife and others running their booths. Today will be, I think I was told maybe today's the biggest shopping day. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But the gala was last night. I didn't make it. I know you're disappointed.
Highly.
But I could make it next year. And so I do want to hear from you on the text line, 601-885-3776. Are you hungover? Did you go? Do you have pictures? Send them to us. We need them. And maybe just a roll call. Have you been before? How many times have you been? Do you have a great story from it? What did you wear? Did you wear a suit? Did you wear a tux? Jackson had mentioned that he was going to go. He has let us down. I think he's going to get right here soon as we get into the holidays. He let us down on Halloween, did not dress up as
hard
as what were you going to be?
Shaggy.
Totally dropped the ball there. He didn't go to Mistletoe. I've offered to pay for some things. And he said he was going to wear some kind of velvet suit with some Nikes, which I think would have been really cool.
Would have been a hit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I just, come on.
Got time for all that?
You ain't got time for all that.
Once upon a time, you offered to pay me to watch a movie.
And you didn't do it?
No.
What was it? Was it Fletch or was it Top Gun or it was an 80s movie? Cocktail? Jerry Maguire. Have you watched Jerry Maguire?
I have. Though it was not while you were paying me. I should have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God. I mean, that's a great movie.
I know.
I mean, all you got to do is sit down with the beverage.
I know.
And watch Jerry Maguire.
I know. I did eventually.
That's where we got Show Me the Money from. Which has been a fun segment. We're going to do Show Me the Money with Bar 2 after the show, but we'll drop it tomorrow. And it'll be on podcast today. But that's where we got Show Me the Money. Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, I mean, I put that together. I just never saw the movie.
How do you... I mean...
Man, movies are tough.
Yeah, because you have to sit down for more than 5 minutes.
And it's just really tough.
I mean,
this is the only thing
I'd like for you to watch more games.
Makes two of us.
I mean, especially because football will be gone before you know it.
Yeah, that part hurts. That part actually, whenever I do watch games, I catch myself thinking that I need to watch more games because this is going to be going quickly.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
As long as I'm making money, and we're good.
Okay. Twitter handle @BowBounds, brought to you by Superior Foundation. If you need French drains or foundation work, call Superior Foundation today. It's family owned. Their work comes with a warranty. They'll get you a quote in 48 hours or less, not 3 weeks. Superior. Superior.ms. Call Todd Sandridge today at Superior Foundation for French drains or foundation repairs. Palazzolo said, "Are we on for today?" I think we should probably go ahead and do it. Let's roll. Is that cool with you? I do too. I do too. Who? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So does Raggio. They look a lot alike. Here, let's get your chickens out. All right, Jackson Meadows. Jackson didn't know this. He gets to taste a little bourbon this morning. Nathan McCarty at Briarwood Wine and Spirits, 4949 Old Canton Road. The Russell's Reserve Barrel Pick just hit his store yesterday. And we're going to he's coming in at 9:30, and we're going to try it. And he's going to talk about it. You know, all about the nose and the taste. We've already did that. I was with him in July at Wild Turkey, right? Their distillery, Rickhouse 1, the legendary Rickhouse 1, right by the railroad. Why did they put it there? That's how they shipped bourbon 150 years ago, right? It's an incredible story. And so Nate's going to come in, and we're going to try the barrel pick that just hit Briarwood Wine and Spirits. Now, as y'all know, it'll be different than a little bit different than what we tasted in July. But it'll still be close. But I'm super excited. And then he also has a Wilderness Trail barrel pick that we're going to try at 9:30. We're going to tell you about it. And then if you want something for the holiday, now you're going to have to go get the Russells quick. I don't even know where he is with it, because he posted it yesterday. I would think it could probably be gone by tonight or tomorrow. So if you have a client or you want a bottle for the holidays to sip on, I mean, this is good stuff. This is much more quality than quantity. Obviously, you put it in your bourbon glass at home, a Glencairn, and kind of sip, grab a neighbor, grab a friend, or you drop a bottle off to a super awesome client. I'm getting several for clients. So they're going to be very excited. I'm excited for them because they're so good to us, but I want them to have something awesome to share with their buddies or family. So Nate Dogg at 9:30. It looks like Steve Palazzolo is going to join us. Boom, he is at 8:30 today. So we're loaded up. We had Roll Tide Ryan Fowler at 7:30. Steve Palazzolo coming up next at 8:30 on the NFL. We got the Bengals and the Ravens tonight. And the Bengals are trying to make this thing happen. We'll see.
Joey B.
Yeah, Joey B, man, against Lamar. So LSU versus Louisville and Bengals versus Ravens tonight. And then you got a couple of college football games, which is great for me. I'll be at the sports book and Philip M's tonight. So I get to watch people watch the game because that's what we do for a living. And that'll be fun. You know what I'm saying?
It's been 50% trolls that are pissed about everything that take preseason stuff seriously.
Right. Well, there you go. And then Bartu's going to join us at 10 a.m. today, and then Jackson and I have to skedaddle. I got to go to Pearl River Resort, and then we'll do a show there tomorrow, and then Hattiesburg on Friday to interview Rocky Patel with Rocky Patel Cigars. And fired up about that. What else do I have? I mentioned we've covered a lot of Georgia Ole Miss. I mean, I think y'all know what I think about the game, right? Whichever offensive line's better, explosive plays, and then what we're going to do situationally, and how does the offensive line throughout the day, not just one series, set up Dart and Beck on first down. In other words, what you'll look back on after the game is what your offense was on second down, right? Were you second and 10? Were you second and 9? Or did you have a bunch of second and 5s, second and 4s, second and 3s, second and 2s? I think points are going to be a premium. I really do. I think you're looking at a 24-21 dogfight. So that's where I am on that. Now, Jackson Meadows, how you doing, man? You didn't make mistletoe. That's okay.
Opted out.
But you're working man.
Working man.
Okay. You're who Trump targeted.
I am.
I read this article during the break in Time. I can't believe Time wrote it, considering, I mean, all these publications but they're kind of coming around. But I read that this summer, Trump's aides decided to max out the men and hold the women. And that meant emphasizing the economy and immigration, and they went all in on new media and podcast to break through the blue wall and get to the young men that they wanted to. And they did. It was a brilliant campaign strategy. You know, we talk about recruiting all the time because we recruit to this show. We recruit Tito's and Farm Bureau and Aplos and Core Wellness and Recovery and Martin's in Livingston and Rick's Pro Truck and many others, right? Mac Hike, Beau Rivage. We talk about recruiting. We talk about our model. Like I created a model in 2003. Some would say it's good. Some would say whatever. But that's a model that we like. We know what we're doing. We know who we want to identify to come on the show. What they did is they identified that they had to get males to vote. And how are they going to penetrate through all the fractured, segmented craziness that we have to go through this day and age? Well, it wasn't going to be running ads on ABC, CBS, and NBC, and Fox News, CNBC, and CNN. They weren't going to get to that 18 to 35-year-old male there. So what'd they do? They went, we'll go on these podcasts, not just Joe Rogan and Lex Friedman. We'll go on a bunch of podcasts. And you know who else they got to do it? J.D. Vance. J.D.'s young. Okay? He's young. He's 39 years, or he may have been 38 when he got nominated, but I think he's 39. He grew up in that world. Have you noticed how good he is on in the media? It's a natural for him. It wasn't a natural for Waltz. It just wasn't. He didn't grow up in the podcast world. Neither did Trump or Kamala. And so, but what they did was they got Trump to, and Trump's a natural on air. He's been on air his whole life.
Oh, man.
So they said, hey, we're going to do a bunch of podcasts, new media. And they penetrated, they went through, they got the Did you see the numbers of males from every race that voted for Trump? So what did they do? It's like recruiting at Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama, and LSU, whether it's football, basketball, baseball. They came up with a model. They came up with a strategy, and they went all in, and it worked. The guy was doing long form podcasts. But you know what he was talking about? Hey man, the economy and the border. They stayed on point. The Republicans have been a disaster at times. My God. They ran Romney, McCain, and Bob Dole. Ugh. And George Bush wasn't a Republican. Okay? He's a tax and spend, big government Democrat. Yep. In a Republican robe.
Better be careful.
Okay? And so what they did was they got Trump, who's 78 years old, to go do new media. And then JD was bouncing around. It was nothing for him. He'd already done it.
Right.
He grew up on it. I mean, it felt like 10 minutes ago, he was at Ohio State as a student. And so people were like, I relate to that. He's actually talking to me. I want a job. I want to be able to buy a house. I want people to come in this country, but I want them to do it legally. It was a brilliant, you're talking about Saban's model and strategy, right? You're talking about like what Dabo was able to do. You're talking about what the Ravens have set up, what the Chiefs have set up, what the 49ers have set up as far as models and strategies. Trump's campaign and comms division did it will go down in the history books. They didn't just break through the blue wall. They shattered it. They ran it. They dominated. New media and podcasts with Rogan and Tucker and Elon and Dana White. And by the way, it's never going back. It's over. It's game, set, match for the Sunday morning shows on ABC, CBS, and NBC, as it should be, and the Washington Post and New York Times. Steve Palazzolo coming up next. Bengals, Ravens tonight. We'll talk NFL with my man, brought to you by Stella Artois. Good morning. Welcome in. The Mac Hike Auto Group text line is 601-885-3776. Mac Hike Auto Group text line right here on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Our NFL coverage is brought to you by the amazing burgers and wings and ice cold Stella Artois at Martin's in Livingston. They're ready for you for game day, whether it's tonight with the Bengals and the Ravens. I can't wait to hear what Steve Palazzolo has to say about this. Or on Sunday or Monday, wings, burgers, nachos, Stella Artois at Martin's in Livingston. And our NFL coverage is brought to you by Martin's in Livingston. We welcome in Steve Palazzolo. Check the Mic is his new show. It's on YouTube. It's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And Steve P. joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, as always.
All right, so your Bengals in your backyard are what's going on here? I mean, we left them for dead. And now, you know, they're playing better football. Can they I mean, the Ravens are good, but are they going to I don't know. Make a run is not where I'm going, Steve P. But we left them for dead. Is there still some life left in this team for 2024?
Well, there should be. You know, it's one of those things when you're 6, 7, 8 weeks into the season and a team has a record and you over-exaggerate exactly what the record means sometimes, and you go back and it's like, man, this team was 1 or 2 plays away from 2 wins and they became losses. I feel like that's Cincinnati. You know, they were like 1 bad pass interference away from beating the Chiefs, you know, 1 unbelievable Jaden Daniels throw away from beating Washington. So they're better than their record, but they're running out of time, I think, Cincinnati. And the issue for them has been the defense. You know, when the Bengals were going to AFC championships, going to the Super Bowl, they had a very good offense, a healthy Joe Burrow with dudes to throw to. They overcame a poor offensive line, and the defense was good, like game week to week. It wasn't elite, but it was good week to week. They could game plan. They could keep them in games. And they've just gotten wrecked this year against good offenses. So that's the biggest issue for Cincinnati. It hasn't shown up as much in recent weeks. But, again, when they go up against good teams, it's like good defensive performance against the Giants. They give up almost 40 to the Eagles. You know, good defensive performance against the Raiders. Well, here, you know, we got to go to Baltimore now. So I don't have much hope, I don't think, for Cincinnati's defense stopping this Ravens offense, and I think we're looking at a shootout here tonight.
Oh, a shootout for Thursday night football. It's Ravens -6. Yeah, you know, when you're trying to get back on track, you don't want to pull the Ravens because they are so good and they win and they're at home. So this isn't the ideal scenario is where you're going to basically to try to go 5-5, but there's a good chance they'll be 4-6 late tonight, right?
I think there's a good chance, yeah. And the Ravens are so fascinating because we watch them week to week, and it's like, wow, they dominated some really good teams. They did that last year. Remember, they crushed the Lions at home, and they crushed the Niners on Christmas night, and they were the 2 best teams and the 2 hottest teams in the NFL. And they crushed the Dolphins, and earlier this year, they did that to the Bills. I mean, they beat up on good teams, and then they go back, and it's like, hey, you lost to the Browns, and you lost to the Raiders, and they barely lost to the Chiefs. So when you get a good Ravens team, they beat the best teams in the league by a lot. That's why they're such an interesting team that, you know, it's like, all right, can you do that in the playoffs against the Chiefs? Because the Ravens' best is Lamar throwing it around, Lamar running in the design run game. Then now you've got Derrick Henry to hand the ball off to.
Good grief.
And then you have a good group of playmakers, right? They have a combination of speed and quickness and tight end. Like they just have all the answers for opposing defenses. And when they put it all together, they drop 40 on the best teams in the league, like they did last week against Denver in a good defense. So Ravens are tough. If they play their game, I think that, I expect them to put up a lot of points.
Where do you rank the Ravens' skill talent in the league or AFC?
It's an interesting one because I think if you just dropped any quarterback on there, you wouldn't say, wow, look at that. You've got Zay Flowers and, you know, kind of an injured Mark Andrews, and you have Derrick Henry. I don't think you'd say, wow, but Lamar helps make all of that work because of his running ability. He helps open it up. So it's good. It's good for Baltimore. They're probably top 10. But again, I don't think we've ever looked at Lamar Jackson's career and said, man, he's just been blessed with so many weapons. If anything, it's been the other end. And then you look at his ability to create open throws and to put strain on the defense, basically, and that opens things up for all the playmakers.
All right, Lions, Texans. Are the Lions walking in because of what happened last weekend? Are the Lions kind of walking into a trap game, in your opinion?
I think maybe a little bit. It is interesting. We all tend to think week to week, and what was the last thing that we saw? And the Texans, the last thing we saw a week ago today was a very disappointing Thursday night game against the Jets, where they shut down the Jets' passing offense in the first half, and then they couldn't get anything going offensively. They couldn't put the ball in the end zone when they had opportunities. C.J. Stroud completed 11 passes and got sacked 8 times, which is a crazy ratio. So we saw a disappointing Texans team, but I still think they're really good. I still think they're a team that's capable. We've seen C.J. Stroud play much better football. They've run the ball more effectively this year than they did last year with Joe Mixon back there. And then their defense has the ability to get after the quarterback and to, just create tight window throws down the field. The big question last week was all of the receivers. They don't have Stephon Diggs is out for the year. But if Nico Collins comes back, this offense is different. So, yeah, I think Houston's better than what we saw last week with the Jets. And the Lions are starting to probably become this team where they might be getting everybody's best shot now. It's like, hey, the best team in the NFC is coming to town. Let's give it a good shot here. Let's get after them. So I think it'll be a good one. I think it's the game of the week, Lions and Texans, and we'll see if the Texans can get back on track because they need it. They kind of blew it, I think, in that second half against the Jets.
NFL insider Steve Palazzolo, his show, Check the Mic. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Good game tonight, and I know we'll get some good games over the weekend. Is there a quarterback or a team that we're not talking about that is somebody who covers this every day, all day, that you're sitting there looking at them and going, man, that trajectory or that QB or this team is trending in the right direction, but because we talk about X amount of teams and X amount of quarterbacks, nobody's talking about that person or that team?
Okay, that's an interesting one as far as the trajectory goes. I'll say the Arizona Cardinals, I think, are the most difficult team for me to figure out every single week because I think their talent level is not good. It's just not good. But they're 5-4, and there's a few weeks where Kyler Murray looks like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. That's happened about 2 or 3 times this year, where he is just out of his mind good. And when you pair that with Marvin Harrison Jr. at receiver, Trey McBride is a very good tight end, that trio can carry Arizona. And then they went out last week and dominated the Bears defensively. In Arizona, I mean, if you just look at their depth chart, they've got no good pass rushers by name. They have no one really good in the secondary besides Budda Baker by name, and they get it done. And so Arizona is the team to me that if Jonathan Gannon's in his second year as head coach, I'm almost of the mind, like, if you give him better players, my expectations are through the roof for what Arizona's capable of, because I think they've put it together with a subpar roster, and then, a guy like Kyler Murray and a couple of his pass catchers just, putting the team on their back. So maybe not exactly the way you're asking, but Arizona's the team I'm keeping a close eye on because I think they have incredible potential, and one more offseason of adding talent, I think they could be even more dangerous.
Interesting. Okay. Steve Palazzolo on the Out of Bounds Show. One of the big games this weekend, Steelers-Commanders. Steelers 6-2. Commanders 7-2. Jaden Daniels is the talk of the league and talk of the town. These are 2 blue blood programs, franchises. Even though the Commanders have decided not to win for 25 years. I grew up with them, man. I mean, Joe Gibbs and Joe Theismann and John Riggins and the Hogs and Art Monk and Darryl Green and so on. And even won it with Mark Rippon bled into the 90s somehow. But Snyder tanked it. Now they're coming back. Steelers, Commanders, don't you consider, is this the game of the week or number 2 for you? How do you see it?
Yeah, it's right up there. Probably number 2 for me. I think we'll see what the Steelers are. At 6-2, is probably the best Steelers team they've had in a few years. Having Russell Wilson in there now, he's done a nice job throwing the ball down the field. They add Mike Williams to the mix at receiver, so I think they've raised the ceiling of that offense with Russell Wilson rather than Justin Fields, is the way I would describe it. So I think that's dangerous. And then the Steelers have the best pass rush in the NFL. They have T.J. Watt. Cameron Hayward's playing really well in his mid-30s right now. Alex Highsmith on the other side. They're going to get Nick Herbig, who's a great edge rusher, on the other side. So I think they're going to challenge Washington's offense, who is just incredibly efficient. And you asked about rebuilding teams or teams trending. In the NFL, I mean, if Washington keeps this up, this is a one-year rebuild to put them back on the map, which is incredible, especially in the East where the Cowboys looked stronger and the Eagles have been strong and still are. Washington has an incredible stretch right now, though. They got the Steelers Sunday, and then they come back on Thursday to play Philadelphia. So in a 4-day window here, we're going to learn a lot about a 2-loss Commander team if they can hang with some of the better teams in the NFL. So I'm real interested in this. I think Jaden Daniels has been outstanding. I think he's playing an efficient level of football that's just a little different, right? It's just like high completion percentages, guys getting open, and then him scrambling and keeping the offense on track. They don't take a lot of negative plays. They've got the fewest turnovers since like 1973 through 9 games. It's crazy. They only have 3 turnovers. So those are the types of things to keep an eye on. The 2 ones I would say, the turnover regression, because turnovers are a little fluky and lucky at the end of the day. So does that come back to bite them at some point where the ball doesn't bounce their way? And then Cliff Kingsbury, when he was with Arizona, had a lot of really good first halves of the season where he faded as a play caller. So keep an eye on that with Washington. So that's what I'll be watching closely. But I'm so impressed with what Adam Peters, the GM, Dan Quinn, the head coach, have done with Washington at this point.
What's the GM's name again, Steve?
Adam Peters. He came over from San Francisco, and they really gutted the roster this offseason. So they brought in about 10 draft picks, a whole bunch of mid-tier, second-tier type of free agents, and they've really reshaped the roster in 1 year. So Adam Peters has done a great job.
Okay. So he was under John Lynch in San Francisco. Okay, cool. Steve Palazzolo, NFL Insider, his show Check the Mic. He joins us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone, and it's brought to you by the amazing nachos and wings and Stella Artois at Martin's in Livingston. Great place to watch SEC football in the NFL. All right, let's go to Harbaugh. It's been quiet. I guess that happens in the NFL when there's so many big names and big franchises and you're way out west and you're not the main deal out there. They're 5-3. They're lucky enough to host the Titans, who are an absolute wreck and mess. Where are you? Give me a grade. Where are you with Harbaugh and the Chargers?
They're just a fascinating team because early in the season, it felt like they already started playing Harbaugh. They already started, right? It was run game, defense. I was joking that Justin Herbert was putting up J.J. McCarthy stat lines. He'd be, 16 for 26 for $130, no picks, and they'd win, right? But Herbert's healthy now, and he's throwing the ball much better. And so they actually have a passing attack. And the thing the Chargers have done is play defense well. Jameis Winston had a great game the previous week against the Baltimore Ravens. They shut down that passing offense of the Browns. And they've been doing that every single week. The pass defense from Jesse Minter, who came over from Michigan, and it's all in that Baltimore Ravens new style, that Mike Macdonald scheme. Mike Macdonald went to Seattle, but a similar scheme where you're, creating some havoc up front, some creative pressures, but you're keeping a cap, keeping the top on the defense to make sure that you're not giving up big plays. Chargers have done a great job with that. So they're playing really good defense. They're running the ball a little bit better, and now Herbert's playing pretty well. So I think they're a dangerous team. They got to stay healthy, but yeah, Herbert being healthier now, I think makes them all the more dangerous. And they're one of the teams because Herbert's really good, and I think we forgot that for a little while because he was hurt. And
he is.
I think kind of kept in check a little bit because of their playmakers. But the second round wide receiver Ladd McConkey looks great.
Yeah,
and so they're starting to gel offensively. So keep an eye on the Chargers. I think they have a chance to to make a run because they're talented and they're playing better defense than they have in a long, long time.
All right, let's do some rapid fire with Steve Palazzolo. Let's just go through some things. Are you sold on the Philadelphia Eagles, that they're back?
I always have a soft spot for the Eagles. I think their ceiling is high. You know, just when it's all cooking, they're really good. Sirianni's fascinating. He could blow it all up, I think, at some point. But I think the Eagles, they're back, and Saquon is special. And look, we talk a lot about running backs here, Bo. The running back doesn't look special. He can't look special unless all the other pieces are in place. And the Eagles have the O-line, the other playmakers, the quarterback, and then Saquon's the cherry on top, just like Derrick Henry's a cherry on top of all that other stuff. That's why it's been a good fit for Philadelphia.
It's a great point. Is the NFC North the best division in pro football?
Yeah, I think so. I thought that coming into the season. Lions are great. Packers are still good. Don't sleep on them just because they lost last week. The Vikings bounced back last week. They're 6-2, can still play defense. Offense is really scary with TJ Hawkinson back at tight end. The Bears are a little iffier, but again, they've got the potential. Good defense. Got to figure out a rhythm for Caleb Williams. So, I think top to bottom, it's the best division.
How dangerous, if at all, are the Atlanta Falcons?
Oh, I think they're dangerous, and they're creating a lot of separation in the South. I mean, the Bucs are their top contender, and they're a couple games. They already beat them twice. They're a couple games ahead of them. The Bucs have to go play. They got to play San Francisco this week. Falcons look really good in that division. They can run the ball effectively. Kirk Cousins playing really efficient. I'm a little worried about Atlanta's defense. They're hanging in there right now, but they're not dynamic defensively, but they're good enough. But that offense is tough, and they've done a great job getting all those playmakers that we've been listing for years, Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, getting all those guys involved and making life difficult for opposing defenses. So, yeah, I like the Falcons.
When you look at the AFC, if somehow they stay healthy, are the Pittsburgh Steelers the biggest threat for KC because of what you hit 10 or so minutes ago with their pass rush? Because they could really mess some things up in a January game where it's cold as all get out because of what they can do in the pocket to the quarterback?
Yeah, I don't know if they're the biggest threat. I mean, maybe in a one-game setting, you could see that. And again, Russell Wilson's going to be interesting here because he's 4 years removed from playing his best football. But he looks a little better, than he has the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. So I think where Russell Wilson, if he starts to regress a little bit or look like he's a mid-30s, Russell Wilson, then maybe they're not as good. But if he just keeps playing clean football, they are dangerous. I don't think they're more dangerous than Buffalo, Baltimore, and some of the other teams. Maybe the Chargers, if they stay on track and healthy against Kansas City. But in a one-game setting, yeah, I think Pittsburgh can cause some problems. And Mike Tomlin's a really good coach, man, and it's so tough to judge coaches because the quarterback is such a big driver. And I think that's where Tomlin brings that consistency. And even if he has a couple of years with Kenny Pickett as his quarterback, we can't forget that he's a really good coach, a really good motivator, and he always gets the most out of his team. And especially in that one-game setting, could be something where they could go into Kansas City and upset the Chiefs.
Are we sleeping on the Bills? Because the Chiefs are 8-0, and the other teams that we're talking about are the Steelers and the Ravens, just because they're the Steelers and the Ravens and because Lamar's at the Ravens. Buffalo's 7-2. Are we sleeping on them, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, they got beat pretty badly by Baltimore, so I think that sticks in people's minds. The best team that they played, they got waxed pretty good. But yeah, I mean, you can never sleep on Buffalo because in any given game, Josh Allen could play superhuman, but he's actually playing within himself. He's got more yards after the catch than he's ever had. So he's letting the other playmakers do the work. The offense is letting everyone get involved. So they have maybe more answers to win than they've had the last couple of years. Defense has been a little up and down, and they've dealt with a bunch of injuries again for the second or third straight year. But yeah, I think Buffalo, they'll be right in the mix, man. And if we get into January and you get another Bills go to Kansas City and Baltimore plays Kansas City, we're going to have a whole bunch of good games once again in Buffalo. They'll be right in the mix to make that run.
I don't know what this text is, but I've only got a minute here. Somebody asked me if you've ever been to the starting lineup Kenner Museum in Cincinnati.
Oh, no. I mean, Kenner made starting lineups. I did not know that existed in Cincinnati. I've been to the Louisville Bat Company down in Louisville, about an hour and a half from here. But
Okay.
I didn't know the starting lineup museum was over here. I'll check it out. Bring the kids.
Okay. May have to get a little more info from Sun Devil Macy on the he's our Arizona State grad on the text line. Interesting. Okay. Well, the Saints and Cowboys are a disaster, so that's why I didn't start the interview with them. And I didn't think that I could dislike Jerry and Steven more, but then they said, hold my beer. And so there you go. I listened to the Ed Werder interview yesterday in Dallas on the ticket and just wanted to throw up. And so there, I'll leave that to you. Other than that, I hope you have a phenomenal football and NFL week. Are you going to watch Are you going to watch Georgia and Ole Miss or Bama and LSU or catch pieces of it?
Yeah, I'll be keeping up with the college. I'm actually doing some consulting at the college level now, helping out with portal with certain teams and everything. So yeah, I've been keeping a close eye on college. I'll be watching this weekend.
I love it. All right, have some of that Make sure to triple order the Skyline chili. We love you and have a good weekend.
Oh, yeah, I'll send you pictures of our Skyline trip next time.
All right, see you, buddy.
All righty. Thank you.
Steve Palazzolo on the Out of Bounds show that's brought to you by Core Wellness and Recovery in the Township. So we've told you about the cryotherapy, which is amazing. It only takes, even Jackson Meadows could do it. Oh, I got to get with Tommy and Heather. You got to get in. You got to go to the cryotherapy because you're way more ADD than I. You can't sit down for more than 5 minutes. It only takes 3 minutes or 4 something. So cryotherapy is amazing. You're feeling fatigued. Your body needs, it's so good for you. Again, pro athletes, but other people do it. You're hustling and bustling. You're working. You're managing life. Cryotherapy is amazing. I've told you all this. I found out about it when Laquan Treadwell started talking about it in 2013 or 2014. And he was like, yeah, I jump in the cryotherapy chamber and I'm rejuvenated. It's good for you. But they also have red light therapy at Core Wellness and Recovery in the Township. They have IV therapy. Sometimes you need that before a big weekend, like Ole Miss fans do today or tomorrow, or after the weekend, or if you're just a workout freak and you're blowing and going, IV therapy. And they've got, it's full of wonderful stuff to boost the immune system, vitamin C and zinc and D and all that kind of good stuff. But they also have TED hair restoration. So if you're showing early signs of hair loss, I wish they'd have had it 20 years ago, as a male or female, they are having a lot of success at Core Wellness and Recovery in the Township. TED hair restoration, state-of-the-art equipment. If you're showing early signs of hair loss, Core Wellness and Recovery in the Township. Nathan McCarty at 9:30.